Hello world. Today I want to take you on a journey through a prophetic timeline, linking moments from the distant past to events unfolding right now, and even glimpses of what might yet be ahead. We are living in extraordinary times, the very days Jesus compared to the days of Noah. Just as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man. When you look at history, science, and current events through the lens of biblical prophecy, patterns emerge. Patterns that suggest God's hand is moving in ways the world may not fully see. So let's connect the dots together and consider what the Lord might be showing us.
If he were telling the truth, he wouldn't have told us.
Unless, of course, he knew you wouldn't believe the truth, even if he told it to you.
We begin with Sir Isaac Newton, not only a scientific genius, but also a diligent student of scripture and numerology. In his study of Daniel and Revelation, Newton identified 3 years that he believed were prophetically significant. In 800 AD, Charlemagne was crowned Holy Roman Emperor. This marked the consolidation of power symbolized by the mother of harlots in Revelation 17. Fast forward to 1944, a time when Newton's interpretations seemed to brush up against real-world events. Global conflict reaching its peak and Israel's rebirth soon on the horizon. And then there's 2060, a year Newton speculated could mark the culmination of God's prophetic plan, the end. Of course, Jesus reminds us in Matthew 24:36, "No one knows the day or hour but the Father only. But while we may not know the exact hour, we definitely know the signs of the times." In Matthew 16:3, Jesus rebuked the religious leaders. "You know how to interpret the appearance of the sky, but you cannot interpret the signs of the times." Newton's work gives us a framework, not a certainty, urging us to watch and remain humble before God's timing. From 1944 to 48, the world saw a rapid chain reaction of events. The end of World War II in 45, the Soviet Union's rise behind the Iron Curtain in 46, mysterious incidents like Roswell and Area 51 in 47, and finally, the rebirth of Israel as a nation, fulfilling the prophecy of Ezekiel 37:21. "I will bring them back to their own land" in 48. In the early 2000s, nature itself began testifying. The Euphrates River, long seen as a prophetic marker, started to dry up just as Revelation 16:12 foretold. Then came 2012, when CERN's experiments and the discovery of the Higgs boson, the so-called God particle, captured global attention. It wasn't just science making headlines. Strange phenomena like the Mandela effect started stirring conversations about the nature of reality, reminding us of Matthew 24:24, "False prophets will perform great signs and wonders so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect." The dimensions shifted, and times and events appeared altered right before our eyes, echoing phenomena like the Mandela effect, where memories seem to shift or disappear. Between 2016 and 18, scientists discovered life returning to parts of the Dead Sea, fish and other aquatic life in waters once thought lifeless. This directly mirrors Ezekiel 47:8 and 9. This water flows toward the eastern region, where it enters the Dead Sea. When it empties into the sea, the salty water there becomes fresh. Swarms of living creatures will live wherever the river flows. So where the river flows, everything will live. In 2018, the fifth red heifer without blemish was brought from Texas to Israel, stirring discussion about preparations for the third temple. As Numbers 19:2 describes, this is a biblical ordinance with deep prophetic implications, a key prophetic sign pointing to temple reconstruction and the rise of the Antichrist. From 2020 to 23, the earth itself seemed to groan. Volcanoes once dormant came alive, with the number of active eruptions nearly doubling. Revelation 11:19 speaks of voices, thunders, lightning, and earthquakes, moments when creation mirrors the tension of heaven's timetable. In that same period, we also saw a global crisis with forever chemicals contaminating water supplies. It's a chilling modern parallel to Revelation 8:11, and the name of the star is called Wormwood, and the third part of the waters became wormwood. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Now think of all the class action lawsuits for people with cancer after being affected by this bitter water. Then on July 5th, 2022, CERN rebooted once again. Rumors swirled about portals, strange sightings, and scientists themselves warning of possible other dimensional influences. Even Sergio Bortolucci, back in 2009, then CERN's director for research and scientific computing, was quoted as saying, "The the Large Hadron Collider could open a doorway to another dimension, and out this door might come something, or we might send something through it. This ominous scientific speculation stirs unease about crossing spiritual boundaries. Matthew 24:37 reminds us, as it was in the days of Noah, so will it be in the coming of the Son of Man. And then, of course, there's the fact that many of the scientists at CERN openly confess to worshiping Lucifer, the light bearer, and the highly satanic ritual that was performed during the opening of the Goddard Rail Tunnel in Switzerland. By April 2025, the prophecy of Saint Malachi about the last pope seemed to draw near to fulfillment. If Pope Francis were to pass, it would mark a spiritual turning point. Luke 21:25 tells us, "There shall be signs in the sun, moon, and stars." Now, some speak of the first American pope, or Pope Leo XIV. New Babylon merges with Mystery Babylon. Pope Leo X, an ancestor of mine according to my DNA, was Giovanni de' Medici, the pope who came up with indulgences, eventually sparking the Protestant Reformation. Then on July 16th, the centerpiece of Tomorrowland, Orbis, was burned to the ground before the festival began. The significance in this is that the theme was trying to free the hidden powers buried beneath, just as if they were trying to set the fallen angels free from their bound chains. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. Jude 1:6. These buried crystals in an icy motif is a direct parallel to Scripture, which would take us down to an even deeper rabbit hole with Antarctica. But I digress. Later, that same month, the stage for Ezekiel 38 could be set, a coalition of nations rising against Israel, with God himself declaring, "Behold, I am against you, O Gog. I will bring you against my land." Then, in August 2025, the Sea of Galilee turns crimson red, another biblical echo, this time from Revelation 16:3, where the waters turn to blood and life within them dies. This happened right around the same time Israel issued a bold public statement featuring an image of a wristwatch and the phrase, "Synchronize your watches, it's time to build." This was a symbolic call to action for temple reconstruction. The construction of the third temple is greatly tied to end times prophecy. And finally, we circle back to 2060, Newton's speculated end. Whether that year holds the final chapter or not, Jesus' words still stand. Matthew 24:36, about that day or hour no one knows. But he also tells us we should discern the signs of the times and be ready when they come to pass. He tells us to keep our lamps burning and remain awake. You don't want to be caught sleeping when the Master returns. Friends, the prophetic clock is ticking and the signs are gathering like storm clouds. But this isn't about fear, it's about vigilance. Jesus told us to watch, pray, and stay faithful. The devil's in the details, and if you're too distracted to notice, you'll miss the signs of the times unfolding right in front of you. If this message stirred something in you, share it, wake someone up, and until next time, the Faceless Prophet out.
If he were telling the truth, he wouldn't have told us.
Unless, of course, he knew you wouldn't believe the truth, even if he told it to you.